the Nation of Islam are examples of centers where positive action in national culture emanates from. Something that's going to make us strong and keep us on this planet. Because I know y'all know we are in trouble. We are dealing with a predator, people, y'all. But y'all know that. I ain't telling you nothing to do. These people are, hey, we got to get strong. Now, this flag I always put up, that's the national flag of Swaziland in South Africa. And I actually ripped this off from a library down in Florida back in the early 90s. It was in a closet somewhere, man. You know, they weren't using it. But anyway, the shields indicate that we're supposed to be a shield to each other, our people, and our, race. So I always use that. And of course, I knew y'all would have the flag, but I have a big one, and so I try to do that in terms of what we do here. Let me give y'all the benefit of some more definitions. What time do we have?
Right now it's 4 o'clock. We're going to give some more minutes, and we're going to take a few questions, and we'll bring the question.
Okay, cool. Okay, let me just drop some of these definitions. Marcus Garvey talked about propaganda. He said that propaganda, quote, is some of the organized methods used to control the world, is the thing called propaganda. Propaganda has done more to defeat the good intentions of races and nations than even open warfare might. So we got to be understanding of what we're getting through that television set and through their institutions, okay? And we need to offset that with our true stuff. Let me define politics. Politics is the art and process of gaining, maintaining, and exercising power. Far beyond involves, other practices far beyond the electoral process and voting. Politics, according to Lou Palmer, decides who gets what, how much, and when. Y'all remember Lou? So we got to get these definitions right, particularly for everybody, particularly the younger people too, okay? Economics, a system of ways and means of producing, distributing, and consuming goods and services. It's more than just money. Capitalism, as a substitute teacher, I asked the class when I'm, y'all know what the economic system in America is called? A lot of them don't know. And so I run that down. Capitalism is a system of the private ownership of the means of production. And at the same time, the means to satisfy human needs, because we have needs. But this particular system, with private ownership, all kind of hell breaks loose. Land, labor, and capital resources are owned by a tiny fraction of the population. They got 90% of the wealth almost, in terms of what they're doing, okay? Capitalism often results in the ceaseless search for profit by any means necessary. That's why we got all these wars and then they want to take us and make us go fight them for them, okay? Now, let's deal with power. Since Garvey said the only argument that satisfies man, of course he's talking about the white man, is power. Karenga defines power as the social capacity of a people to realize its will even in opposition to others. Power points up organization. It's higher than just influence. So it's a lot of things that we need to, tighten up in terms of our understanding. Dr. King even said we got to get the language right. Of course, Marcus Garvey said that back in the 20s. We got to get clear on what's going on. This happens at 67. Yeah, you got to get clear on what you're doing, okay? Let me deal with racism. Racism is a system of denial and defamation of a people's history, humanity, and right to be free, based exclusively or primarily on the specious concept of race. Racism expresses itself as a historical act of force. In other words, they impose themselves militarily. That's what happens. Also, it's an ideology and philosophy to seek to justify the unjust imposition. So they come conquer you, then start calling you bad names.
Right.
And dehumanize you, okay? There's also a set of institutional arrangements to enforce and perpetuate the imposition. Schools that don't teach you. Jobs that make you the last hired, first fired. You know, all these institutions, okay? There's a lot to say. I'm gonna wind up, and I wanna let y'all know that we all have to like get real busy and educate our people, y'all. This was one of the ways we did it in the Black Body and some Positive People. This particular one, we did this back in the early 70s, bro. We wouldn't pull in no punches. We had an artist say too, I saw him the other day, I told him he'd come down. He could draw anything. You know, I would make, you know, I said, can you draw this, brother? And he'd draw it, you know, and then it would be used, I would put the words to it, it would be used to help educate the people. Now, I'm just basically about done. I have some, did everybody get the literature? Everybody got the literature I gave, right? Okay, now, I have some CDs, if anybody interested in this. This is my call-in commentary on WVON, V103, and all of that. You hear some of the talk show hosts, you hear me responding to what they're doing. If you want to get some of these are 10, that helps me. I even brought this, but we ain't gonna have time to do all this. This is our trip, the Dessert Club, to Camet back in 2007. We were over there and I just, you know, some really good stuff. I have a lot of things that I show people when I make presentations, but basically, if I've said anything of value, I would hope that I've shared something of value. Now, if anybody want to see, I got Mr. James at my Rua's naming ceremony back in 1975. And, you know, there he is, you know, thundering, you know. And this is part of the cultural nationalism. There's Mr. James again. Yeah. So I have pictures and all kind of things. We got some strong archives. Now, I would hope that folks are considering writing their stories. That's what I'm doing. I don't have the money to deal with publishers in terms of the user rate, but this is what I put together. Keep on Pushing, the autobiography of me, stories of growing up, many errors, service, and class suicide. I put them in different values. This is the first 25 years of my life. Black Body, pictures, all y'all in there, you know. And so when I do have these available, maybe you'll want to get one, you know. So that's basically what I wanted to share with y'all. And if anybody didn't get the material that I had, oh, one other quick thing, let me do this. I forgot. This article, like I said, Kwame Ture, who helped shape me, Rua Cherry, who helped shape me, Francis Wilson, who helped shape me, Bobby Wright, you know, all those people. They were all appreciative of Marcus Garvey and what that, you know, the whole movement and beyond, before Marcus Garvey, okay? But Dr. Karinga writes an article for the Los Angeles Sentinel, and Yusufu sent this to me. It's called Gleaning Marcus Garvey's Lessons in Struggle, Questioning, Organizing, and Liberating Ourselves. And I only have about 8 of these, and I wanted to make sure that the UNIA folk get these, because it just bears witness to what I was saying. Oh, this is not ready. Yeah, it bears witness to what I was saying. You in the UNIA? Oh, okay. You go. Yeah, I only have a few. Yeah, I'm going to take some questions in 1 second. I just wanted to do this right quick. Okay, I highlighted some things I believe in. Did I highlight that in yours? Is anything highlighted? No, I must highlight it now, okay. Here's what Dr. Karenga is tribute to Garvey. He says the Honorable Marcus Garvey stands as a model and a monument of African liberation thought and practice and the human possibilities inherent in it, and thus his life and work offer abundant lessons for us. He says Garvey's philosophy and practical project begins with a series of questions rising out of the condition in which he sees black people around the world. It is a condition of relative powerlessness and oppression. He's referring to, where's the black man's army and navy and men of important affairs? That's what he's talking about. Then on the second page, he says, Garvey taught that a race without power and authority is a race without respect. He also says, point me to a weak nation, I will show you a people oppressed, abused, and taken advantage of by others, end of quote. He also says, show me a well-organized nation, and I will show you a people and nation respected by the world, end of quote. Garvey teaches that there are several things necessary. The first is to reaffirm our Africanness and derive both our purpose and direction from this identity. Garvey said man's first duty is to discover himself. Garvey says that the first need is for men and women who are committed to and ready for the demands of history and struggle. He said that's the first need is for men and women who are ready to do that. So y'all can read the rest of the article. But I wanted to give y'all that because the Honorable Marcus Garvey and the UNACL has been respected by many. So I open up for questions.
Right now, we're going to take questions and comments for people minutes. So about 10 minutes. So if anyone has any questions or comments they want to make on the difference, feel free to do so. Questions and comments?
Well, I hope I said something about it.
Okay, yeah, just show of hands. Come on, my brother.
My brother Madison, you mentioned quite a bit back in the past, but I was just waiting for some reason. You mentioned that small book by Sappho on Nkrumah, the accident on Nkrumah, remember that?
Oh, this is essential features, but yeah, accents. This is essential features, but I know you're talking about accents of Kwame Nkrumah.
Right.
Yeah. See, Kwame Nkrumah, y'all gotta understand that at the time that he was dealing, he became a head of state. And that opens up a whole nother thing because Kennedy and all them trying to undo you, he even had to take his water with him, man. Because, you know, them neo-colonialist puppets in Ghana, who eventually overthrew him when he was on a peace mission to Vietnam, man, that's rough. You know, but yeah, I'm familiar with accents. Yes, sir.
Well, you said you're in the public school system as a teacher.
Yeah.
I'm curious, is there any information in the textbooks today concerning English literature you have?
Well, we know that, you know, the forces that control plus the Negroes that go along with them are not necessarily trying to really give us a holistic education, which means academics plus culture. So we got to do that. You know, but the good news report is that we have some great people, like Afro history teachers, like Sister Angela Davis at King. She's part of the Neverly part. She's part of the Kemetic Institute. Yeah, and she teaches Afro history at King, but she's gone now. Also, we got a sister, Miss Bedford over at Kenwood, who teaches Afro. She have books and things. We kind of collaborate. So yeah, it's some good news, but then, you know, we need much more than that. You know, our young people just be confused. Now I run across some conscious ones, and of course I'm trying to make more conscious.
Come on,
Yes, sir.
bro.
Yeah, thanks, Brother Madison. I heard you talked about curriculum. You said something about you that you was working on or have worked on curriculum to help educate our
Okay,
children.
here's what I meant by that. I appreciate what you asked. That's curriculum material.
Right.
You see, you know, the things that y'all see me passing out to the masses, that's curriculum. See, we got a reason with our people. In fact, this was something that Marcus Garvey said that I just got to say this. Yeah, I just got to say this in this particular book. He says, intelligence rules the world and ignorance carries the burden. He said, education, boy, is a mighty force. It is the weapon of human control. If you can educate a people in the idea that you have, they will react to your satisfaction whether the education as a propaganda is right or wrong. And then in this piece, he also said that our people, you got to reason with them and take time with them because, you know, they've been made ignorant, meaning lack of knowledge. You know, and that's one of my quotes that I give. So curriculum materials, the things like these, curriculum material is the tapes that we make and disseminate. I'm talking about, you know, all of that's curriculum material. When I got a photo album showing a journey that we took in 2007 at the Dessert Club to Camden. When people look at this, I give it to the young folk, you know, they learn. Anything that you can use as a medium for people to learn, that's curriculum.
All right, thanks for bringing that clarity to that. When we look at it, when I look at the practice and theory, you know, the theory, you know, the knowledge, you know, the people that you got the books up, you got their knowledge with them. But when I look at practice, somewhere along the line, the theory and the practice has not connected. And you said that they wanted, I mean, you know, you can't have one without the other. But we don't have, you know, for some reason or another, you know, I look back at from the 70s, you know, when I graced, when I got here, you know, and I look at all the great people that you named that I, you know, some of them that I knew, some of them I didn't know. Some of them was actually part of Division 401 from Dr. Bobby Wright and you know, Honorable Charles James and things like that. But when I look at the practice, Honorable Marcus Garvey was able to actually bring theory and practice together. That's why we had 8 million people that they give us credit for, you know. Can you tell how can we bring that theory to that practice, 21st century?
Well, let me say this, appreciating what you said, President Brother. Actually, you have many centers of positive action. And Nkrumah said there's positive and negative action all around us. So we have to get with the positives and build those. Now, the fact is that we have centers of positive action who they are actually implementing their theories. For example, the Nation of Islam. You know, they have a particular outlook on things, which is like ours for the most part, you know, and they've been implementing that. But we always have opposition from the oppressor group and from the enemies from within, unfortunately, to kind of try to throw us off. But we have many centers of problem. Black Body, we were a center of positive action. We connected theory and practice. We would come in here on a regular basis and do work study, but we had all kind of programs that we implemented in the community. In fact, one was called Walking Intelligentsia. I don't know if you were part of that, but we would have our garb and stuff on, and you see 30 people, us, Black Body, coming down the street. Moite, Moite, Zakariana. And that means we're looking for people to help build a nation. We have all kind of information given it to the people, you know, educating them. You know, that was putting theory into practice because we need consciousness before we can do anything. And Karenga echoes Garvey in many ways. Karenga says that the battle is first for the hearts and minds of our people. If we lose that battle, we can't hope to win any other. So a lot of the psychology discipline people began to tell us what we needed to do. Because we have a problem, all the centers of positive action. It's hard to get the young people and even some adults. Do you know that I go around to these step sets, man? And I like to get my dance on. But I'll be educating and speaking at the places where I can. I'll be plotting, trying to get out. But I'm just saying that we got so many people unconscious, and then we got opposition from the powers that be. It's not that our centers don't want to implement their theories,